episodes, that's quite a ride. So remember, next time you're traveling around the world,
we have tossed and there's no escape from it.
It's finally happening after all this time.
What is happening?
Thank you, Lily.
You did good out there. Made me proud. Proud the way a human is proud of a well-trained dog.
You were an evil man. You got to go.
This is all about your ego. This is about order!
Good evening. I'm Will McAvoy. This is Newsnight.
Join a live Q&A with John Gallagher Jr. from the newsroom, Wednesday at 2 p.m. Eastern. Go to hbo.com/connect to submit a question now.
And now, HBO Documentary Films presents Hard Times, Lost on Long Island.
I could think of a lot worse things that could happen to someone than being unemployed. I have a lot of things that happened to me in my life that helped me put this unemployment into perspective. I was struck by lightning when I was 15. I had heart trouble when I was 21.
There's been an explosion deep below.
I was at the World Trade Center. I just started a new job when it was bombed the first time. And a few months after that, I was on the Long Island Railroad when Colin Ferguson shot all those people on the railroad. And most recently, I was in the World Trade Center when it collapsed. So, you put all this stuff into perspective. Being unemployed is something that I can deal with very easily, and it's, it could be a lot worse. It's not the end of the world.
Why does the sun go on shining? Why does the sea rush to shore?
2 days ago was a year I'm out of work. Everybody says the same thing. I'll get back to you, I'll get back to you, and they never get back. There's no jobs. If there is a job, there's 70 people that they're talking to. And no, he said, well, thanks very much for coming, and you impressed everybody. They were really, they liked what you had to say. And then the big H word. Yeah, however. No, I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't know. I don't have anything right now to fall back on. No, I came from that networking meeting this morning. Nobody's gotten jobs. Everybody's the same thing. Oh, good idea. Very entrepreneurial.
I wake up in the morning and I wonder why everything's the same as it was. I can't understand, no, I can't understand how life goes on the way it does.
I was on the phone with another company. They called me this morning. So things are picking up, but picking up isn't good unless there's an offer, but...
I'm sure you're getting daily alerts from, like...
Yeah, Indeed.
Hot Jobs, Indeed.com. Are you in LinkedIn?
LinkedIn.
You get any responses?
Yeah, thank you very much for your note. You'll hear from us.
And that's it?
Because of the economy, people come in and just want a cup of coffee, and I don't, we don't bother them. They hook up and try to help each other with jobs and stuff.
I was there when I was 15 years old.
Wow. Yeah.
And you booted me out?
Let's connect, because I still know quite a few people.
I see them look at the newspaper, looking for a job, asking me if I know anyone. You see it all day long.
I got turned down from FedEx to drive a FedEx truck to help deliver holiday packages, and they told me I was overqualified. I just want to drive a truck.
Yeah. When does it stop? So you're overqualified, you're 50. So what do you do with these people that want to pay their bills? They don't want to foreclose on their house. Because they're 49 and overqualified, we still have to eat, we still have children. So what do you do with us?
We're in Levittown, New York. Used to be an old war community. The boys used to come home from war, and these houses were made cheap for them.
When my dad came home from World War II, he paid about $7,000 for the house.
Back then, it was a lot cheaper to live here.
I was born and raised in Levittown. My father was a veteran in World War II who bought one of the original homes in Levittown.
1947. There was no place else to go. I was living in a furnished room. I saw a house and I went to a bank to get a mortgage on it, and they told me I wasn't making enough money. But Levitt was renting for the first year, and then you could either rent or buy.
Oh, we ain't got a barrel of money.
When you moved into a Levitt house, you got everything you needed. You got a refrigerator, you got the stove, you got a washing machine. This was the 530th house that he built.
My father always did what it took to make ends meet. I never wanted for anything. I had a great home. I had a nice warm place to sleep. We had television. We had a car. It was a fantastic place to grow up in Levittown.
I've been here in the same house for 63 years. Over the years, people added on. They made changes to the house. What started out as an $8,000 house is now a $318,000 house. And that's down from the $400,000 it was worth a couple of years ago.
The economy changed, and I know when people are struggling. I recognize the unemployment checks, and I recognize the certified letters from the banks.
I live paycheck to paycheck. I don't even know if I can make my next mortgage payment.
I worked here for many, many years and always made money to provide for my family, and now it just can't do it no more. There's no jobs.
This is the 7th-month anniversary of my getting fired. You know who's really evil are human resources, though. They're like double agents. There was this woman, Ashley, in HR. And I'm dancing with her at our Christmas party, and she knows I'm getting fired. It's like, and I'm going, and she's like, you're such a good dancer. I'm like, I know. Meanwhile, she's going, you're so fucked.
A big day of gains for the markets yesterday.
You're out of the recession. You're starting to see
the economy is looking much stronger than some are giving.
The economy has recovered.
In place right now is creating lazy Americans.
The moocher class out there. And we know that when people start to look, they start getting jobs. Go out and get a job. Work at McDonald's. Work 2 jobs.
Ever since the crash, we're in a period of what I call prolonged economic uncertainty. The game has changed. Instead of getting 20 or 30 years at a company, hopefully you can get 2 or 3.
It's been a weird time. It's weird going to college and having expectations and assuming that things will go one way, and then next thing you know, you're looking for a job at like Whole Foods.
The middle class is not in the middle anymore. I think it's more of a lower class now. I mean, when I first started, if you had a job making $30,000, I'm now, 20-some-odd years later, applying for jobs that are paying $30,000 now.
When I read the paper and I read articles about the recession being over and things are getting better and there's job growth and whatnot, I just don't believe it. It's laughable. I've always been self-sustaining, self-sufficient financially, and now we're just in a situation where we've been looking for, you know, a real job for a couple of years now already. Kind of at our wits' ends, and we had the 3 children to take care of. I've always made a good income. $100,000 is a lot of money. It is a lot of money. But a third of it goes towards your taxes, federal, state, city, whatnot. So you're left with $65,000. Food has got to cost you, I know with us, right? What is it, $800 a month probably, you know, to feed everybody, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. You know, so that's another $10,000. You got your mortgage and everything else, you know what I mean? So you're chipping away, you know. I can't fathom that people can survive in this environment.
I'm just calling to find out if any new decisions have been made or how we're going to go forward. If you could give me a call, please, I'd appreciate it. It's 4 o'clock on Tuesday. Thanks much. Bye. Dang. I never imagined that I would be in a position, being out of work for a year, and think that, you know, we could lose the house. We moved here for a reason. Long Island's been very good to us and the kids, and we have friends out here. I love it out here.
This magic moment.
Grew up in Brooklyn, born and raised in Brooklyn. I went to Brooklyn College. I met Susan at Brooklyn College. We lived there for 5 years before moving out to Long Island. Long Island is a great place to raise a family. You know, the highways are right near us, you know, a ride to the beach. It was Jones Beach, Tobay Beach. We joined the pool. And, you know, the more time we spend out here, you know, the more we liked it. That's why I'm, you know, the prospect of losing this house is very upsetting. And I'll do what I have to do. My last job was at a company called LRN, which was a leader in the field of compliance and ethics training. You never really think it's going to happen to you. They would call people into the office and, you know, they would come out in tears. You know, everybody thinks their job is important. So I felt that, you know, like a lot of other people, my job is safe. I was able to work from home. I didn't spend much time in the office. So when you're asked to come into the city and you're watching your colleagues getting laid off left and right, you know, I guess the writing was on the wall. I was laid off and, okay, you know, tell me what my benefits are and everything else. I mean, what am I gonna do? I'm not gonna let them know that they really upset me, but on the trip home, you know, it hit me. I'm unemployed. I know how you feel when people tell you that. People that aren't unemployed and people that aren't going through this. Yeah, I know how you feel. No, you don't know how I feel. You're not out of work for a year. You're not trying to support it. You're working. You have a job. You don't know how I feel. You think like you're the only one.
Totally.
I was talking to one of my neighbors, and you know they're pretty much in the same boat. And you know what? You live next door to someone for so long, you don't even know it, and then all of a sudden, it's you know you start talking about it. Hey, you too?
Yeah.
You know, and yeah.
We're a couple months, haven't paid the mortgage.
Yeah. Right.
Struggling to decide to pay it or to not, because if you don't pay it for a couple of months, then you go into the foreclosure and.
Right. And then you have to pay more money.
Then you have to pay more, and
you are at the end of the modification process the second time. For
Did you say we're at the end of it?
We're at the end of it.
So we think.
So we think.
2 years ago, I lost my job. So we put our house on the market. It's our only asset. It's all we've got. But our property taxes are very high, and we have no money to retire on. Right. So we just have to work forever. But we can't get jobs, so it's kind of a vicious circle. Very difficult to figure out. But we all did what we were supposed to do.
Right.
and this has been the result for us. I remember the day I lost my job as if it were yesterday. It was June 2008. The HR manager came into my office. I followed him into a conference room. The two of them sat down, and I said, let's just get this over with. Being unemployed for 2 years is not just a financial loss, it's an emotional loss, it's a loss of friendships. People disappear, you can't socialize. It changes in every facet of your life. I'm panic-stricken. I'm feeling as if I have absolutely nothing. I don't want to be helped. I want to just help myself. But what we want are jobs. What we need are jobs. In my next job, and I will have a next job, I will thank God every morning and every night for that job.
The phrase that job seekers are seeing more and more often now. The unemployed need not apply.
Only employed people need apply, if you can believe this.
Is that legal?
These folks have created giant holes for themselves financially and emotionally.
It affects their mental health. It affects their views of themselves and their self-worth.
So could you possibly end up with a whole class of permanently unemployed people?
I've been on, in the 2 years, I gotta say I've been on 20, 30 interviews. I must apply thousands of jobs over, I mean, you know, nothing, different fields, Home Depot, you know, back to Wall Street. I started on Wall Street, I'm a Wall Street guy. Not one of the high-end top percenters. I was a regular guy that got hired off the street. I started out as a messenger. I was a sophomore in high school. Back then, you got hired off the street. Get your job. They needed people. There were girls everywhere, and I said to myself, I'm not gonna fall for the first one. And I met Regina right away, and it was like, she's too damn good. She's the one that I'd end up marrying.
I remember being so happy without a care in the world.
Worked my way up to vice president in 2000. You know, I was making a decent salary. I finally, you know, I made it to the 100 grand club, man. I was there. I was on the move. But in 2008, that's when it all hit the fan.
The worst financial crisis in decades today.
And this is just absolutely stunning that Lehman Brothers and Merrill Lynch would actually fall on the same day.
I went to work that morning. I spoke to the guy above me, and I said, you know, what's going on with the layoffs, you know? And he looked at me, and he was just real pale. And I was like, you gotta be kidding. It's me. It was just doom. It was just doom and gloom, you know, and I couldn't do a thing about it. Said goodbye to everybody, you know, it was pretty emotional. You know, I knew everybody. I'd get on the elevator, I knew everybody. Regina's first words were like, wow, you get home early? I said, yeah, I'm home for today and tomorrow.
Within like 5 minutes, I was like, it can't be. You know, it just can't be. Like, how could this happen? Not ever knowing what I was gonna be in for. Not ever in a million years.
Dave, you know she's gonna run right in, right? Oh my God! Wow. The idea that we had spent so much money on schooling and we were so highly educated, and we certainly did not expect to have financial difficulties. That is true. Dave, doctor, me, teacher, you know, all this education, please. Of course, we're gonna be fine.
Where are you, baby girl?
We both had jobs. We got a mortgage in this tiny little house that we had purchased. We could pay for the mortgage. I lost my job. I had 3 years of great teaching.
You can write about anything. There's no limitations here. Anything you want. Use the words, make up a silly sentence.
I got called into the office and I sat down and, you know, we were like this. She said, I'm sure you'll do a good job somewhere else. I, you know, looked her right in the eye. I said, thank you very much. And I walked out of the office and I was just in utter disbelief. In utter disbelief. We knew then that we were in trouble.
I'm a chiropractor. I have noticed a big decrease in business over the last 2 years. Probably about 25%. Our financial situation is pretty dire at the moment. We've recently filed for bankruptcy.
Not a day passes where we don't in some way discuss our finances.
Yeah. Think about it, talk about it. It's constant.
It's constant. We've been together 16 years.
Yeah.
And I would say for about 13 years, we were kind of like that couple where everything was just kind of sort of picture perfect.
We both grew up on Long Island. We lived a fairy tale life from the very beginning.
I mean, literally, right down to the white picket fence.
We went to college at SUNY Geneseo, and we met up there.
Met right away.
Yeah, freshman year, my freshman year, and we've been together since.
Yeah, long time, 16 years. First people married out of college.
Yeah.
You know, immediately went to our graduate degrees. We were all, you know.
Wanted to live out here, came out here immediately.
Hi. We made it through about 13 years.
Yeah, it just worked.
And then, you know, our struggle came later.
There are a whole lot of people in this country that are unemployed, and if ever there was a need to extend unemployment insurance, it is now.
The Senate is expected to vote to extend unemployment benefits, but that is little comfort to the long-term unemployed who have passed the maximum time to receive benefits.
Where are the jobs? Where are the jobs? Where are the jobs?
Unemployment doesn't seem to have a face on it.
It's hard to organize people who don't have the means of physically getting together in a place.
People are literally killing themselves because they can't feed themselves and their family.
If you've been out of work for 2 years or more, if you're a 99er, there's no hope in sight right now.
Coffee? Yes.
Coffee. Thank you.
Because we're looking at the last month of our unemployment benefits, we're terrified. And if it stops at 99 weeks, we just have no other resources.
Who can live off even the maximum?
For $430 a week?
When I told my daughter, I said that I lost my job, she went into an hysterical crying. You know, what are we going to do? Where are we going to live? What's going to happen? I worked as a systems manager. Most of those jobs went to India. I was involved with a lot of the training, and it's scary working and training someone and knowing that you're actually training someone to take your job.
I've been told it's one of two things. One is it's age discrimination, which officially doesn't exist, but all of us know it's out there in force, and that really annoys me. Or they tell me I'm overqualified. I don't know why I went to college at this point. I don't know why I spent nights getting a graduate degree. I should have become a plumber.
I'm doing all I can to even network, and it's still not working in my favor. I mean, you would think that your family and friends would be proactive in helping you get there, but it's like you're on your own. And that's very disheartening for me because I have to go to bed every night thinking about that.
You know, people say be tough, be strong, but how do we get up every day and face the abyss?
It sounds weird, but there's good in every bad. And there's good that comes out of cancer if you survive.
Mel had lung cancer in 1999. In 2000, that lung cancer metastasized to his brain. He experienced horrific surgeries, radiation, chemotherapy. There's such support when there's physical illness, but when you've got this scary, no money going down the tube situation, people, I think, are more afraid this could happen to me. Having cancer was easier than being unemployed. I grew up in a completely artificial world, but I had no idea. It was the 60s. I graduated from high school in 1970. When I was a teenager, we had a cabana at Point Lookout. And during the summer, we would go there all the time and have barbecues. It was carefree. There were no worries.
On a blanket with my baby is where I'll be.
I went to college, probably because I wasn't engaged, frankly, but I'm very glad I did go to college. I was a bit of a rebel, the little hippie type, marching in anti-Vietnam rallies. I like a good rally, I really do.
We met on the Long Island Railroad. You know, you become a creature of habit, and when you're on the railroad, you tend to go to the same car, the same section. And I used to sit with 4 other people in this 5-seater, and one guy and I would always trade jokes.